As we continue to pay tribute to remarkable women who are making strides in the male-dominated industries, this week we zoom in on the technology and telecommunication spaces. Amelia Mikateko Tela is an award-winning 2019 influential woman business analyst for Telkom Consumer and Business, while Lerato Sekoaila is a Linux systems engineer for information and communications technology company BCX. Now, both women have cemented their place in their respective industries and join us now via Zoom to give us their insight into their career paths. Ladies, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning, Simpiwe. Thank you for having us.
All right, Lerato, I'm going to start with you. Briefly unpack for us what a Linux systems engineer is and how did you become one for BCX?
So what I do is that I monitor the Linux operating system and cater for the client's need. So for example, let me say you have a system, a server. Your server needs memory. I can add that for you. So everything that has to do with the operating system of your server, I'm the girl to go to.
Okay.
So for me to call BCX, I studied at Kulisa and I wrote my Red Hat engineering exam. I passed that, then I applied for a job. Went for an interview at BCX and they took me as I was a qualified Red Hat engineer.
Good stuff. Now, Amelia, let me bring you in as well. What does being a business analyst for Telkom entail and how did you land up in the position?
So it's quite a long story, but I'll try to cut it short. A business analyst is someone basically who elicits requirements for a business, who drafts processes. And I'm going to give like a short example. So, for example, let's say in SABC Morning Live, you want to create an app. Basically, what a business analyst will do, she will make sure that she just connects with the IT people and key stakeholders to elicit all the requirements that are needed for that particular project. So how I ended up being in the job, I started in Telkom about 3 years ago, and I was a bursary student and eventually climbed the ladder and became a business analyst.
Okay, you seem to make it sound so interesting. What really drew you to this role in this position?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't too sure whether I wanted to pursue this career until after getting a bursary in Telkom. I started off as a project coordinator after graduating from my qualification. But later on, I realized that this career actually connects with my passion in life. So I'm passionate about just making a difference in the IT space, particularly in townships, because I grew up from Tembisa. And one of my passion is just one day, one of my vision is to see myself actually introducing the world of ITC in primary schools, because when we were studying computer systems, there are other projects that I wasn't aware of, and most of the people were able to do them at high school. But from my side, I wasn't aware of that. So I sort of like just wanted to be there just to make a difference.
And Lerato, what kind of challenges come with this position and what kept you going when you experienced those hardships? We know that it's still a male-dominated industry.
Yes, as you've said, growing up, we never knew that women could be in IT. So me being in this industry has a lot of challenges. Like you get people undermining you just because you're a woman. They think that men can do it better. So having that supports you, motivates you every day, also helps me during like a day. I can do my work with the team that helps me to face the challenges that I come across during the day or across the week.
So in those incidents of being undermined for being a woman, how were you able to counter those incidents? I mean, for purposes of just inspiring some those who are looking to enter into this industry, those women who are looking to enter this industry, how were you able to move along those kind of criticisms?
I remember this other time where I had that challenge. I was on a Zoom call like we are now. I was in a Zoom call with it was men, and then there was one lady and me. So as we were discussing, I'm a Linux engineer, so I do what I have to do on my side. They do what they have to do on their side. So they had a problem and they told me that I didn't do my stuff right. So they were trying to force me to like write an email saying that I did this, I did this. Then I asked them, why do I have to do this? Then they said, like, just say it. The lady that was there stood up for me and said, no, what Lerato is trying to say is that she did this, did this. They just pushed her away as if she said nothing. And I was talking to my colleague on the side. He's a male. So he said, give me the Zoom meeting ID, I'll join. He joined, then he defended me. As I told you that having people that support you, especially males in this industry, is a good thing. And that's something that that men should do in this industry to motivate young ladies. And as Amelia has said, we grew up in villages or townships that doesn't educate us around this. We knew, like, when we grew up, we knew that IT is for boys. Ladies can't do that. So what we can do, like, we can motivate young girls, especially like in primary, as Amelia said. We start them there, build programs that can motivate them and tell them that they can do whatever they set their mind to, no matter what the society says to them. The society shouldn't be able to set limit for their capabilities.
Okay. Now, Amelia, what is the ratio of women in your industry, and what, in your opinion, needs to happen so that we open more spaces for women?
Okay, so at the moment, the current stats that I have, it's like around 50%. Well, I'm quite not happy about it because I think there's a need for more women to dominate this space. And I think for that to happen, we need more mentorship programs. We need to introduce computer in all schools. Like, for example, now with the epidemic happening, you find that like people from village are unable to study online, which makes it a bit difficult. So I think what needs to happen, we need to have some more mentorship programs. We need to introduce these type of systems to children from an early age, which will then help us later on to have more female. I think female empowerment is quite important, and that needs to really happen in the next few years.
I mean, we're seeing women on a daily basis, women like yourselves, women like Lerato on a daily basis, just rolling up their sleeves and making their impact in some of the male-dominated industries, especially in the tech and the telecommunications industry. Just how important is how important is diversity and inclusion in a new world?
So what I think it's important, it's very important that we include women in this space. Like I said, women are powerful and they need to be given a chance to just explore. And I think it's very important that we get included in such big industries, male-dominated. I mean, gone are those days where we think women only belong in the kitchen. But I think what is important is that women need to be given an opportunity to voice out their opinions because there's power. I mean, we've got lots of women out there who are making it for themselves. And I'm quite excited that, last year I got to attend a girl coding program. And that just made me excited that at least women are given voices because I believe that Ibogoto has got power to change the world.
Lerato, just before I let you ladies go, what do you think, or rather, how do you envision women's involvement in the future? What is it that industries will need to do in order to ensure that women have a seat at the table?
As Amelia have said, we need to have more programs. Like the academy that I went is focusing more on women than men. Like it's 90% women in the academy, then there's few men. So we need to have more programs that do that include women in these industries. If we can have that, in the future we'll have more women in the industry. And I mean, it will benefit the industry because, let me say, you're building an app or working on a system. You need to have people that have different experiences and perspective towards life, that have different experiences of the world. If you have people with different experiences, they'll bring more to the table.
And what would you single out as the highlight of your career?
Me being able to do what I do. When I was in high school, as any other girl, I didn't know I was going to be in IT. It wasn't even on my mind. But then someone who went to the school that I went to. She told me to apply. I did that, got support from my teachers in high school and my parents. When I applied, I didn't know anything about IT when I went to that academy. Like, it was zero knowledge. So when I got there, I learned, did a few courses. And when I got to Red Hat, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So me being able to say I am a Linux, a Red Hat engineer, that has been the highlight of my life, my biggest achievement.
Okay. Lerato and Amelia, great chatting to you. Beautiful conversations we've had. Thank you so much for joining us and all the best.
Thank you for having us.
Well, information and communications technology company BCX Linux systems engineer Lerato Sekoaila and Telkom's business analyst Amelia Mikateko Tela giving us their insight into their career paths as we continue to pay a tribute to remarkable women throughout the month of August.